Hi everyone, welcome to the third session on day 3 of Blockchain Community Day event. In this session, Andrzej Wierzowski will continue our very popular topic of NFTs and plans to tell us a little bit about the advantages and the pitfalls of non-fungible tokens. Andrzej has been with EPAM Systems for over 4 years, and his current role is business consultant. Just before I hand over to Andrzej, a couple of short announcements. First, a reminder that anyone registering this week to attend our event will receive a free NFT. And secondly, you can leave any questions in the Q&A page on the We Are Community site for this talk that Andrzej could address at the end of his presentation. Or you can also leave them in the Q&A tab in the presentation view if you see that. And with that, I will hand over to Andrzej.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for such a flourishing presentation. So, today we will talk about NFTs with something like beyond the hype and more with the business focus on what is the NFT is about and how it can help business to deliver more value, to be more productive, and what other wonderful opportunities the NFTs open for the business. So my name is Andrew Wierzowski. You already know that I'm with EPAM for such amount of time. I'm working mostly with the blockchain and Web3 production, with development, with consultant, management, and let's take a look what this content will be about today. So I'm going to present to you some general information about the NFT. We will just become familiar with that. I will recall what it's about. We'll familiarize with some digital arts, what is NFT for GameFi, for brands, for digital identity. And for sure, we will take a look on the NFT and the criminals who is like become attracted by NFT and its opportunities, and you would understand why it's about. So let's take a look on the first one. So I'm quite sure that everyone who for the first time heard about the NFT is always seeing that or associate that with some JPEGs or with some 2D JPEGs like this one, which is sold for some tremendous amount of money. And that's really true. The most expensive NFT is now valuated as like some equivalent of $91 million. And that's like not a single that's compatible NFT, but that's the one. And overall revenue for the market is something close to like 11 billions in 2020, and projection for a couple of next years is exceed 200. So let's take a look what is about this digital art. So you can take a look on the left side. That's an example of another single, the most expensive NFT, which is actually sold on Sotheby's for 69 millions. And why it's actually so? And is it really the NFT has such an like significant price and such a value? So let's take a look at that art as the as the Mona Lisa for ancient, and now we evaluate that as the unique masterpiece, which does not exist anywhere, and like however copies we have, like on our pictures in internet, there exists another one, the original, which is actually proved and it's obtained by someone. The same thing here. So you have a digital ledger, which is 100% proof that you are the only owner of such an NFT, of such a digital art object. And while me actually placed it in my presentation, it's still the copy, and the original is obtained by another person, and the blockchain can prove that, and it's that all the transaction is transparent, and that blockchain prove uniqueness of that NFT, as well as shown us the price was paid for that NFT before. So let's go ahead and see, except those super expensive digital arts, what other value NFT can bring to us and what it can be based on the technology. So as a non-fungible token means the unique one, the NFT can be a unique digital art representation. It can be a digital twin, means kind of we have a physical product and we can create a digital twin for this physical product, which exists digitally and can be used for different purposes, like some part of cloth or wearable or any other object used within the digital, maybe in game asset as it is, maybe some in Metaverse. The NFT can be even some design chair in your Metaverse hideout. The same thing can be with tickets or membership cards. So NFT can represent them as well. Moreover, it can be exceptional moments in the video, in our audio, maybe some pictures from your exceptional moments, which is as well stored as an NFT within the blockchain and can be there forever. And another thing which is I'm really fascinated about is digital identity. So the NFT can contain all the information about your identification, reputation, other things like all your eligibility and access to other digital services, but it's still decentralized. And we will talk about that a bit later in that presentation. So with that, a lot of this kind of options and abilities, let's try to consider each of them one by one. So what is about unique digital art? On the right side, you can see like NFT, which is called Quantum, created by the artist Kevin McCoy. And that's the very first NFT was sold for the $1.5 million. Another one, which is actually we already mentioned, and you've seen that on the previous slide, it's that every days, that first 500 days created by people and sold as a single NFT on Sotheby's for almost $70 million. That's most expensive single NFT right now. And another option, it's Jack Dorsey tweet, first tweet. We all know Twitter, but that tweet was sold for almost $3 million as an NFT. So right now, that tweet is owned by another person, so not but Jack Dorsey. That's just a kind of the most interesting, simple examples how the NFT can represent the digital art, and that uniqueness of that exists and owned by a single person or is proved by the blockchain. And the beauty of that is that no one can actually change that information within the blockchain. So if you're an owner, you can transfer your NFT, you can sell that NFT for any price you wish, and for a price someone would want to pay for that, but still it's owned by you. And when it's transferred, you transfer it to that person, and that's proved as the registry, which has high level of security to be hacked from the perspective of change ownership within the blockchain. Let's take a look at that table, and what I want to pay your attention on the first two lines. First line is an OpenSea. OpenSea is well known as the NFT marketplace, which one of the famous, and it contains millions of NFTs. And if you're telling about selling NFTs, it's always associated with the OpenSea. And you can see here that like average volume of the OpenSea is close to 15 billions of US dollars. There are like something rough to 1.5 million of traders, and the average price of that means like 1,000, but starting price they quite low. Another line, which is actually X Infinity. And the X Infinity, it's not just the marketplace. It's more about game. It's game on a blockchain, most well-known game. And that actually has quite the same amount of traders within the marketplace, but like such a less volume. And again, they sell exactly NFTs, which is related to that game. And we'll see and talk about that a bit later. And beside that, there are a lot of other NFT marketplaces, games who actually sold, or traders who sold their NFT, and that market allows average people to earn money on NFTs, create their own NFTs, and what is more important, it brings consumers of the art closer to those artists, so they can easily create it by themselves, share that, sell that, and even get rewards based on the royalty from that, like reselling their art objects. GameFi. So why it's GameFi? Because it's game and finance. That's the first time when games allows users, players to earn money with them. So the option, which is actually before in traditional games, it's available only for professional cyber players who actually can earn money by that, championships for the traditional games. But here, within the GameFi, games propose average players to earn together with them, like simple, understandable options how to earn money with the game together, and they are included into game economy. And for sure, with that, the NFT within the game can represent a different thing. So starting with the characters, their parts, some weapons, ammunition, skins, cosmetics, even land, territories, or even crafting materials from that lands and territories. And based on different kind of game tokenomic, players can sell those characters or sell different skins, crafting materials to earn real money, real assets within the game, or buy those assets and buy those items to get advantage within the game and get more rewards. So that's the first time really when they can do this, and where the games propose that. For sure, if we try to compare the GameFi and games within the blockchain, it's incomparable with traditional games. The traditional games 30 times market wider within that, but the blockchain games has huge potential within that, and even traditional games taking a look and looking for different types of integrations available with the blockchain to include that option with already well-known AAA games, and allow their users to include them in the tokenomics of the game, allowing them to earn money not through this kind of gray peer-to-peer markets, but transparently, legally within the game. And exactly, transparency is one of the most important things which is attract players into game, where you can go to the Explorer and see within the blockchain who actually earned what and when this rewards was given. So you can prove, or game can prove in front of their players, so there is no cheating with it. And if the game mentioned that they are not a type of game pay to win, you can always prove that. And right now, the GameFi market is close to 40 billions, and that actually seven times increase during the last year. So, and what I want to say is, if the game in GameFi is really interesting to you, or you see that quite interesting to learn more about that, I want to advertise our speaker, Vitaly Vashuk, who is actually already present his speech about gaming solution as Metaverse building blocks. And I'm quite sure that in a week or so, the record will be available and you will be able to see that presentation within our blockchain community day. So let's go ahead and see like brands. And as probably you know that some of the well-known brands trying to collaborate with games, with the well-known games. And one of the examples, it's like how Fortnite collaborated with Balenciaga to wear their avatars or their characters in Balenciaga brand wearables. Why they're doing that? Because like brand, it's not just a label really. The brand is, it's like universal container for the message you want to bring to the world. And that's why the brands like trying to find another options and other channels to deliver that message or to deliver their fans, deliver their messages. And as we are unique within the world, we want our avatars, our characters we're playing with, being as well as same unique as we are. And that's why like that message, we're trying to wear them in something special, in something which is really fit to our understanding. And you can see more and more brands become, launch their NFT projects. And from that perspective, the NFT can be wearable. The NFT can be digital twin as we get. So that can be digital twin of any other like t-shirt, hoodie, some sneakers, and then it can be like or used as the wearable for your digital twin within the digital world somewhere in the metaverse, or it can be even collectible. We all know about people who is actually collect sneakers, and that can be a good extension for the collection. And who knows, I'm quite sure that in some nearest time we would see the galleries with that collectibles which is represent that collections, and we would be able to go to gallery and see that. Let's take a look on some brands who already, which already working with the NFT, launched their NFT projects. And as example, Nike already earned like $185 million as a revenue from their NFT project. Then there's like Dolce & Gabbana, Tiffany and Gucci, who's actually take that that way as well. And more brands like looking for that, even Starbucks launched their NFT campaign. And that market is actually growing. There are a lot of other examples like Times Magazine and as well like plenty of others. So why brands actually taking that way? So what they are looking for and what they're trying to do with NFTs. They're not use that as, to create something only for digital twins or for digital avatars. They trying to as well enrich the experience of all the kind of users. So we all know that before we were in mood like to even take a flight to some event which is important or interesting for us to take a part there. And NFT, but then that was like the COVID 2019, which is actually closed for us a lot of physical events. Things were like recovering step by step, but anyway, we extend it with some virtual events, even VR events, which can be, which not only require like the all digital tickets, but it requires some new experience, which NFT can actually propose. It can propose not just digital ticket, which is actually, with proven ownership and without an ability to fake that, but as well, that digital ticket can be extended, that can allow you to entry, it's proof your identity, that's your ticket. You can resolve that, you can do whatever you want with that digital ticket, but much easier. And what is more important, it can be even changed into kind of membership card. It can allows business to extend and actually get all this revenue from the sales, create the kind of selling strategies for the tickets, for the membership, extend with the option, and even make, like, when the ticket is actually used, like when we, like in the previous like experience, when we just get into stadium and use that ticket, it's like it's become a waste, but it's not the NFT story. So with NFT, we can enrich it with not only the proof of attendance, but as well with some special moments included in that ticket. And that can be stored not only in our memory, but it can be stored and revisit later just to see how those how those going on and what was the event. So, and that's all, like how the brands is actually acquire NFTs and Web3 in general. Wardecraft presented that, and you can go deeper in that topic and take a look on his presentation. And I'm quite sure that you would be really impressed by how brands right now using the Web3, NFTs, and the Metaverse to enrich our experience, to deliver our messages to the whole world. Let's go ahead and with all of the things, with membership cards, with tickets, we always go walking around the digital identity, and we mentioned that a couple of times, like how it could be that right now we have our digital identity in some paper documents with some stamps, proof with centralized authorities, and as well we have them in a digital representation like digital science and so forth, but as well we have tremendous amount of passwords to any different kind of applications, platforms, so whenever we want to go. And from that perspective, the NFT as a container for all of those things can work pretty good to represent our digital identity, and not only digital, and moreover store even information which is actually not possible to be stored within like our physical passport, even if it's biometrical one. We can use that NFTs as the identity, as the reputation of us, even all this kind of keys, in-house, car, whenever else, it can be used for that as well. And yeah, that's the huge topic. It's a topic about decentralized identities. It's the topic about verifiable credentials, but that's our ability to, instead of Google, which is collect everything and store everything for us and know everything about us, we can go and get back the ownership on our data, on our identities, and even share those bare minimum of information required by some authorities, or to accept our, let's say, entrance. And from that perspective, we get the freedom of getting our data privacy, of sharing our data privacy, and actually knowing that it exists within the registry, which can be at any time just derived back, and it's quite hard from that perspective to lose your identity or the document which actually prove your identity. So let's take a look. We talked about a lot of things about digital arts, about identities, and I'm quite sure that the reasonable question, like, okay, so what is the criminals, how they attract with the NFTs and what they are doing with that, and is it like really tricky to know what it can be, and how from that part. And yes, they are attracted by NFTs. And right now, the two most popular related crimes is about money laundering and the wash trading. So they are how they both somehow related to water, But it's not about water, it's about the leakage of money from our pockets to pockets of criminals. And that's the two things. So the first thing is money laundering, which is quite small. It's like just estimated as the $1.5 million, which is actually go through NFTs to be wash traded. And the idea is to just convert illegally obtained money from, let's say, drugs or illegal weapons selling into the clean money through the NFT, like to pretend that they created some pictures, which has cost a lot of money, and they sold that, and now they obtain, as a creator, as an author, obtain that money, have that money quite clean, maybe even paid with tax paid, and can use that in like in any they want how they wish. The another part, but that's still quite small, and that should be considered as well. The another quite big part is trying, like we talked about the marketplaces for the NFT, where people can buy and sell NFTs, and NFTs can be sold for quite high price, and each marketplace trying to be like OpenSea. And if you remember, we take a look that OpenSea get like close to $15 billion volume. And to reach that, looks rare, actually create the wash trade, means they just buy and sell by themselves all the NFTs being on their marketplace, just to present that they have the same volume of trades. And that means that they just try to fool people, go to their marketplace and buy their NFTs or on their marketplace to just get fees and revenue from that people. But quite frankly, those kind of things, they quite small comparing to those options and abilities which NFT gives to our creators, to our musicians, video production, streaming services, and moreover to our convenience and everyone, to make that information more decentralized, to remove the intermediaries between consumers or clients and real producers, and pay more to our favorite musicians, to our favorite artists, and make it simpler and enrich our experience with all this kind of interesting part. And yeah, if you want to see more about the compliance, about challenges in crypto, in DeFi and NFTs, you can just relate to Stefan Westerman presentation. He's actually talked a lot about those financial things, the compliance for the NFTs, and quite sure that in a week you will be able to go deeper with that topic. And let's take a recap. Let's make a recap and see what we learned today. So first of all, the NFT is a technology. The technology can be used in different ways. It's quite two sides share its worth. And you can actually, first of all, discover and bring a lot of good capabilities to the world with NFTs, as well as criminals can be attracted with that capabilities as well. So we always need to take in mind that it doesn't matter how fruitful it can be, we always should be conscious about what it can bring and how it actually works. As with NFT, there are a lot of options, and if you're really attracted with that, please learn more, read more, and try to identify those options. And yeah, you always can ask us about that kind of things. So we talk about the digital art, the uniqueness of digital art, and uniqueness of the NFT, which is bring to digital art that ability to earn with that, being a creative, being an author, being a musician, as well as obtain some masterpieces from that world, from that digital age, and store it within that and have it in your pocket literally. We talked about the GameFi and the transformation of game, like from fun to probably a dream job for next generation, where someone can actually earn more money just playing games full time. For brands, it's really another option. It's another stream, and its ability to not only extend their user base, or let's say those who share their message, but as well it allows to represent and being more technological and obtain the other markets, which is actually just growing up like Metaverse and GameFi. And for sure, the most interesting topic for me is a digital identity, which can bring so many options, so many opportunities for us in nearest future, which really not exist before, not been able to apply before. So that's the recap. I think the next thing is our Q&A session. So I would be glad to answer on your questions, and hope Daniel can help me here.
Thanks, Andre, for the great in-depth discussion there. Let's just check our question board. Okay, so guys, if you want to leave Andre a question, we've still got plenty of time now to ask our questions on NFTs, advantages and pitfalls. But perhaps I'll just chip in with a couple of thoughts or questions of my own, Andre, whilst we're waiting. So, like, we were talking about Metaverse and virtual worlds, and like having tokenized assets within those virtual worlds. Do you think that that technology and those environments and that experience need to develop a lot before digital NFTs become much more popular in those games? Is that like going to hold back the technology, do you think, or is it going to drive forward quite quickly?
Thank you for the question, and it's quite a wide topic, which is actually, as I see, it can be reached like in one day or even like in a year. And even comparing or thinking and looking on our like rapid development nowadays, when we, 5-7 years ago, we're not can imagine that today we'll talk about NFTs would sell like quite frankly some digital pictures for such amounts of money, and moreover we would be able to talk to each other in some metaverses, and they become a part of our life. I'm quite sure that in future, so right now it's in like it's quite immature and it's now in building, and it's great that there are a lot of companies who is actually working on that more and more, already investing money into that, because that virtual worlds, they enrich our abilities. It's enrich our abilities to communicate to each other. We already actually, remove all these borders between us, and any day we can virtually meet each other, talk to each other, work together, and create such amazing products as a metaverse up together, not even being in different countries, different continents. That's not a limitation for us anymore. And I'm sure that being like the metaverse itself and all the environment was actually encompass that, it's like kind of next even not a revolutionary step, it's more evolutionary step, because all the building blocks, they are already exist. The only thing is needed is just to combine them together and make it mass adopt. And when it's become more and more mass adopted, it means that more and more people would actually come in, bring into that world their thoughts, their their abilities from the perspective of like effort, the contribution, the bright minds. And from that perspective, only in this way, it would become richer, it would become more mature, and it would be fulfilled with all this kind of experience we have in our like physical world. It's for sure it can't actually replace the physical world, that how someone can think about, but it's a good option for us to go ahead and like make another step, make a step where we would easily interact not only to each other, but to robots and artificial intelligence, which is actually helping us to create those products to, work in a slightly different way, maybe in more productive way, maybe, but it would be another way to work, another way to collaborate, another way to communicate. And that's, from my perspective, it's really the evolutional step. And the digital identity, as you're asking for, it's kind of, you can't use the old keys to open the new door. You always need a new key for the new door. And that's the idea of the digital identities. I know there are a lot of memes related to that, but I'm quite sure with such an engineers we have nowadays, we would be able to overcome any difficulties and to define all of those edge cases to make all this experience more smooth and make our day-to-day things lighter, easier, and simpler. And in at the end of the day, it will allow us to focus on main things, which is more important for us, on our family, on our friends, on our hobbies, on things we love to do in that life.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think those worlds are they're really gonna change our lives, aren't they? In very different ways. And I think, just my personal opinion, that we can argue whether those things are good or bad for us, and hopefully it's all good. But it's kind of like there's like an inevitability about it. I think just like the internet, that the technology is going to drive forward, and we just need to maybe adapt ourselves. And I think it's maybe we see like games environments, but also I guess like virtual shopping malls and that kind of thing we're gonna see some really creative stuff in that space. And also I think you touched on that during the presentation and during your answer there about digital identity. So I just wanted to ask your opinion. Do you think that we will have digital ID stored like directly on a blockchain somewhere, like a passport or driver's licenses, or will it be stored in some other way? We're going to put our trust on those documents into blockchains, or does it make sense to do that, do you think?
I see more and more, and even work in some laboratories to make that possible in future. And what I really like from that is not just only, we can simplify that and say, yeah, okay, so our digital identity would be stored somewhere in the blockchain. And someone can say, okay, what is the matter of that? So now it's stored in the registry, which is which is quite good secured from the leakage, maybe. But what is the difference, like if it would be stored in the blockchain, and what is the reason to put such an amount of money to develop that technology? And by the way, the decentralized identification, it's not the new thing. As I just mentioned, the oldest part is kind of evolutional step, because all the environment, it exists for dozens of years. So like decentralized identity idea exists for like, I think more than 30 years or something like that. And people talked about and developing that like during all of that time. And That means that the technology by itself is mature, but the use cases we can use that, they are come like quite quickly with these new challenges we have within the metaverses, within the GameFi and other parts. And that means for us that, yeah, sometime would be able just to, come into our car, home, open something, we wouldn't even notice that we should to put password somewhere or to put login and password somewhere. They probably would disappear. I can say you when, right? So in what kind of time period, but I'm quite sure that next generation would say that, okay, how have you been with like 200 passwords need to remember and enter them at each website, at each platform, your phones, whatever, how that can be, because I'm quite sure that NFTs or any other form of digital identity would be able just to remove that border. That means that we would, we would like that interface when we need to put the login page, which is actually where I think every project start with, that would be removed from our life. So that interface wouldn't exist. The same thing like, with AirPods. So you shouldn't actually click on the play button if you want just to play music. You just put the sorry, you just put this earphones just in your ear, and that music start playing. So the interface is removed. You just need to put it. And the same thing with the digital identity. So we wouldn't even notice. So we have the access, we have an eligibility. We just come to our car, open it, sit, and drive whenever we want, or it drive us whenever we want. We just come home and even not notice that there is any kind of door exists or whatever. We just come to work, open our laptop, or maybe something else would exist then in some virtual world, and enter this virtual world without any need to enter some password, because password is actually the idea of the password and login is just to prove your identity, to prove your eligibility and the ability to use that service. The same thing here. So you are your identity, and you shouldn't actually do this. So that's the thing. That's why I said that it's kind of evolutionary way. It's not a revolutionary one. And we would just come to that as we come to Google it, as we come to YouTube, as we use all those kind of services in nowadays just to find the information, just to learn something new. And we can't imagine the world without those things. And I can say more, our kids can't imagine that world without those things. They think they are exist before, and even like much more time before they just burn. So that's the thing I think in that direction.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to change rapidly as well. And just a thought just sprang to mind there that it's sort of becoming a little bit easier in a way, isn't it? To with ID on your phone, you've got like keychains and kind of auto form fill-ins. But personally, it feels a little bit like a hack that, it's improving that experience a little bit. But it'll be just a big step further if we have a sort of a decentralized solution, and also the need not to have IDs stored in central locations like sort of driver's license agencies or passport offices or that kind of thing. Potentially, you would remove the need for big companies to hold all of this PII information on you for long periods of time, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And with PII information, even more interesting. So when someone is actually asking you about your identity or to prove your identity, for the decentralized identity exists the option for the verifiable credentials, so and verifiable presentation. And that's quite big topic, but it if to simplify, it means that you shouldn't show all your PII data or all your credentials to enter something. You just just only you decide what information you want to share with some authority. So they can ask you to share your information, and you would just only share that information you need. Like, like now we working with with cookie consent. So you always have an option, like just entering the website, you can always pick up what cookies exactly you want to store and what exactly you want to share with that website. So you can allow everything, like with advertisements, with analytic and stuff like that, or you just can pick up only functional one, which allows that website works properly, and that's all. And that option is actually even more extended with that decentralized identities and verifiable presentations. So that's the beauty of that, and that what it means, like you become an owner of the information you store. So each time someone want to use your information, they would ask you to allow them to use that information. And moreover, they would need to prove, or let's say explain why they ask you for that information. So that's as well another evolutionary step to the data privacy, to our data privacy, which is actually not just, sign it within the GDPR and like just eligibility to be compliant with that legend for the companies, but that's exact steps and exact use cases where companies just asking us what information, like for the information they want to use, and moreover describe why they want to use that information.
It's great, and that means that we will no longer need to say our exact age, right? So if we're embarrassed about, some people don't like to divulge that information. It's just all you'd say is that you're over 21. Yeah, like you go into a shop, you want to buy alcohol. They don't need to see a full list of attributes about you, including your age. They just need to know that you're over 18. And like I don't know if the tech will allow that, but it sounds like it's going that way.
That's true. So they shouldn't, like, they didn't need to know what is your name, so and where you live, or what kind of license you have, or when you're obtaining that. So it's just enough to green dot or the green side that you are like 18 years old, and they are not even need the information like how old you are. So like it's just a proof, like 21 years old, and that's all. And that's enough. That's enough to do like what you've said. The same thing with all the other stuff. So you can apply for, like, you can come to any kind of driving license obtaining center, and you can you can go and pass your exam, and if you are like in proper way age, then no problem. So here's like your exam, you've proved that you can drive. Maybe in future we wouldn't need even driving licenses, because there will be like self-driving cars, and that's another story where the digital identity works even further, and even like gives even more flourishing opportunities when machines communicate to machines within the secure channels and share all information which is required to be able to operate. So that's even more interesting, and even more like like brings more opportunities. And what we always what we always consider is the reputation of some person, but to prove that reputation, or to store the record of that reputation, it's like it's impossible nowadays. So you just can trust to people who knows that person and what they said about that. But we can convert that reputation in some rankings, create that, gamify that reputation part, and everyone would actually need that information. They would be able to just see that, like if it's needed, or even you can decide to share that information with that person or not. So that's the thing, and that is what is most important. That's where I said we own our own personal data, and if we want, we can share that. If we don't want, we can share just bare minimum of the information they needed. And that's all about use cases, and only about use cases.
Sure.
Because
Sure.
the technologies, they are there, so they are already exist, and they are, in some cases, they already working, and we are not seeing that because the information is a lot of information around us, and we are not seeing that. But we know that some of the options, some use cases already cover this. Let's say NFT as a digital identity, or let's say NFT as the pass for some membership pass, or something like that, or NFT as a container for another NFTs. So there are a lot of cases which is actually works and works properly, taken, like some of them taken from the previous experience. I mean, in other words, from financial area, from specific domains area. Some of them taken from something which has happened, and that's quite interesting how it can be used, and what exactly it allows, and how powerful they are. So it's not just a hype on the digital pictures, it's beyond a hype, and it's about technology and abilities of that technology make our life simpler, and make more like powerful things, and things which we can't even imagine we can do.
Do you think that those sort of more kind of real world ideas of things like decentralized identity, or representing real life objects in NFTs, do you think that those will drive NFT tech forward further than digital art, digital music, this kind of idea that you're going to spend $1 million on an NFT? Do you think it's those more kind of familiar things that will drive NFT tech forward more, rather than sort of expensive digital art that we're seeing at the moment, for example?
I would say that this way. So there's two things. The first one is, like, if we're talking about the NFT as a technology, it should and it would work the same way as the blockchain as a technology. So blockchain itself is not only about the cryptocurrencies, but when we say blockchain, the association is always like, okay, cryptocurrencies or crypto scams or something like that. But that's quite beyond the cryptocurrencies, and the technology itself brings NFTs as well here, and make it powerful. The same thing with the NFTs. NFTs is the, let's say, tool which allows us doing some incredible things which before, like, to solve cases which before not even exist, or they exist, but we have no option or no idea how to solve them, or to solve them that was like so complicated and so difficult to to adopt that we don't even need to do this. But right now, with all of that adoption, with ability, and I would say, with eagerness of that generation to move towards that direction, because they feel, they burn with that, and they feel like, I want to do these things in this way. So I don't want to, like, to have central intermediaries whom I approve, because sometimes those intermediaries, they actually lose the trust, the most important thing. And here we see the option when we not even need to trust to another party. The trust is by default, it's in blockchain, due to the design of the blockchain. And I don't need even like to recheck. I see that it is, so it exists. I see that, and there is a proof that it's owned by that person. That's the thing. Yeah, I can say we would need, like, to solve another tasks and another challenges with these new technologies, and if someone said that, okay, so sometimes ago, only like bots and robots would write the software for us, I can say, yes, we can have that option, but more, we would need people who would solve the problems those bots creates. And that would be another challenges for us. That would be another, let's say, the generation of IT people, another generation of engineers who's actually solving those problems and who ready to, you know, prove that. Like with NFTs can be stolen, and we all know about that. NFT can be transferred, they can be used for like money laundering, for some illegal stuff. And that's the another case. So we need something or someone who would create for us an option, an ability to check that NFT. And we already have that, and we already know that we can see that, we can check that, we can go to Explorer and identify. So, okay, so I see that I want to buy that stuff. I want to buy that thing, and I see that I like it, but I want to go to the platform and check, okay, it's eligible, it's not stolen, and that person is actually proved owner of that item, and everything is okay. So the transfer is just in seconds, and in the seconds I become an owner of that thing. And that's the part, and that would be really, you know, when I'm thinking about that, it's such an amazing when, let's say, in some future I would be able to buy a car and have in registry the digital twin of my car as an NFT, and it would be transferred to me, and I become an owner, and I came to my car with my identity, and that's already in my, let's say, wallet or some representation of my wallet, and I just sit and go and drive. So I wouldn't need, like, you know, to sign a lot of like documents, go and waiting, obtain those kind of numbers or like ID for my car, waiting again while it will be registered, then like use those keys or something like that. So, and that's like all
Reduce
these
the effort.
interfaces
Yeah,
just go out.
Andre, it's we're just coming up to the top of the hour, so I think we'll have to leave it there. It's we could, I guess we could, like a lot of these things, we could talk all day about this this topic, but thanks for your presentation and your in-depth look and thoughts on the subject today. We want to thank everyone who joined the live feed for Andre's great talk today. Remind you that you'll receive a free NFT as an attendee this week. And also, continuing with the NFT theme, please tune into our next session from Gleb Zhivov, who will be talking about NFTs, music and culture. And one last time, Andre, thanks for your presentation again.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for having me here. And yeah, I'm glad to share with you that. So thank you. Have a nice day.